Stand in the middle of your classroom, facing the door of your classroom. Slowly turn to the right and face that wall. Make another right hand turn. Make another turn to your right. Now make one final turn to your right. You should again be facing the door of your classroom. Does it seem like your classroom is very big? Well, just imagine if you were Abraham Lincoln. This is about the size of his entire house in which he spent his first few years. His house measured 18 feet by 16 feet, the size of a typical classroom. Abe was born on February the 12th, 1809, to Thomas and Nancy Hanks Lincoln. The little log cabin in which he was born was on Sinking Spring Farm near the modern-day town of Hodgenville, Kentucky. This bronze sculpture shows Lincoln's father, Thomas, his mother, Nancy Hanks, his sister, Sarah, and the baby, of course, is Abe himself. Thomas Lincoln was bound and determined to make a life on this Kentucky land. His own father had lost his life trying to find a place to live in the Kentucky wilderness. He had been killed in an Indian raid when Thomas was just a young boy. Thomas Lincoln was illiterate. That means he could not read or write. The best Thomas could do was to write his name for legal papers. He was a carpenter by trade. He also tended to the small farm on which the family lived. Nancy Lincoln had never gone to school at all. She was a very wise woman, though. She knew the importance of education, and she wanted her children to get the education that their parents lacked. This is a picture of Sarah, Abraham's older sister, as an adult. He also had a younger brother named Thomas, but Thomas died when he was just a baby. Abe's father decided to move his family to Indiana when Abe was only 7 years of age. He gave 2 reasons for this move that Abe remembered. The first reason was that Thomas had many troubles getting the land that they lived on titled to him. The second reason followed Abe through his entire lifetime. Slavery was becoming an issue to all Americans. Kentucky supported the right to own slaves. The Lincoln family did not. The Lincoln family had to walk many miles to reach Indiana. The area was full of woods and wild animals like bears. They finally settled near Little Pigeon Creek. It was hard work to clear the land that they would need for a farm. The work kept the Lincoln children from attending school. That made Abe's mother sad. Two years after the family put down roots in Indiana, Abe's mother died. She contracted milk sickness. This is an illness that is transmitted to humans who eat butter or drink milk from a cow that has eaten a plant called white snake root. Abe missed his mother greatly. About a year later, after his mother's death, Abe's father married a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a wonderful stepmother to Abe and his sister Sarah. Abe's stepmother saw to it that Abe and his sister got some education. This is the first real school that Abe attended. It was called a Blab school. It got its name from the fact that all the lessons had to be recited in class in unison. It was obvious to his stepmother Sarah that he wanted to learn more than just the basics. It's no secret to anyone that the great knowledge that Abe displayed as an adult came from his great fondness for reading. He borrowed books wherever and whenever he could. Abe may have learned the basics in school, but his education came from his own reading. Abraham so believed in the power of learning that he worked hard to instill this into his children. Here we see he is reading to his own son, Tad. Abe didn't leave Indiana until he was a young adult. The ability to do hard work remained with him even through his presidential years. Abraham Lincoln's desire to learn all he could would take him to the office of the President of the United States. A hard childhood taught him that he could do anything if he worked at it hard enough.